What is going on, everybody? If you are wanting a little bit of a Games Workshop ramble, you came to the right place. I want to discuss with you how I personally think Games Workshop is dropping the ball on their games and basically losing their fanboys, such as myself. First off, it seems like they're really interested in diversifying their portfolio. Obviously, we were all excited about the animated shows, and then they really dropped the ball on that because they're just trickling them out. Barely any content on the Warhammer Plus app. Doesn't even seem worth it. Surprisingly, and I was all in just because I feel like you could just resell your limited edition character if you didn't want it and probably get your money back for the whole year of your subscription. But it does feel like there's just got to be more shows to watch. I don't care about looking at old white dwarfs. Their heavy metal painting, it might be good. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but YouTube has infinite painting content for free, so I don't need to pay for that. And I don't even know if it's. I don't know anything about the heavy metal painting tutorials. I don't know if they're better or worse. But in general, the third-party tutorials are better than the official like Games Workshop quick tip videos that are free on YouTube. So not really a big deal as far as drawing me to subscribe. I wanted to watch all the shows, and they don't seem to be wanting to put out those shows. They sold it like they were going to have 20 shows, not that those 20 shows were coming out over the next few years or whatever, right? Another thing is they're very interested in coming out with like toys and plushies and figurines. And although those products are pretty cool for the collector, I'm not really a toy collector per se. I have like one Mega Man. And I do have the Sisters of Battle McFarlane primered one. I thought it was going to maybe go up in value a bit. I'll hold on to it. Maybe it will. But at some point, there is a level of mental energy coming from the company that has to be invested in these like Joy Toys or whatever they're called, the little Space Marine G.I. Joe action figures, the McFarlane action figures, the Chibi Advent calendars, the plushie Squig and the plushie Nurgling, right? There is some sort of energy being spent on getting these things created and made. And, it's cool to have new stuff or whatever for collecting and for the fans. But at the same time, your games are in disarray. Like, the the win percentage right now in ninth edition for going first is massive. Games in ninth edition that are ending on turn one before your opponent even goes, right? It's basically who wins the roll off. Massive. I believe it was Goonhammer who tracked some competitive events, and the AdMech had a 70% win rate, or just under a 70% win rate for going first. That is not a good game, where literally 70% chance of winning if you win the roll-off to go first. There are major problems with Age of Sigmar with these unkillable Death Star type characters, or Death Stars and characters. Just massive spam of your most efficient shooting units, basically. Shooting is just miserable in that game. With the idea of the double turn in like Age of Sigmar, it wasn't that bad when like weak units are hand-to-hand combat fighting other weak units, because there's a lot of back and forth. Everybody's fighting every turn. Didn't really matter who was going. You just got a little bonus for charging. But when armies have massive potential of damage in shooting or magic with no chance of being hit back, i.e. the combat phase, and then they can double turn you and just decimate you off the board before your second turn, right? You go first, they go twice, you don't get to go second, game over. There's like 2-up, re-rolling ones, ignore Ren 2 save models. Another thing that, like, how is this even existing in the game? It's so bad. And it looked so good on paper. I was so excited for AOS 3. I bought an Ironjawz army, and I haven't had a good game yet. Playing the Sons of Behemoth third-party army I painted up is the only fun I've had in Age of Sigmar for a while, just because it is fun to play big stompy monsters, and they're pretty good rules. And they're even better now in AOS 3, but at the same time, it's just miserable. And think about this. They just came out with some they do it all the time. It's cool, whatever. Like store anniversary, convention, exclusive model sculpts. These sculpts of these models take time, they take energy, they probably take meetings to talk about these new products and new miniatures. Yet, they can't release an FAQ for 40K to give Chaos Space Marines 2 wounds. We know they're going to 2 wounds. Every Space Marine has 2 wounds when they get their rules updated. But in ninth edition, they don't, or the company as itself or whatever, there's just no intention or no care or focus on balancing the games. It's like they trickle out these crazy codexes. They're so poorly play tested. You can't even believe some of the rules you're reading in them. Like they're so poorly worded, and this company's gigantic. So somebody like me who would consider myself a fanboy doesn't even want to give them any money because what am I paying for? Like, and especially what amplifies it so much, and I've mentioned it before, but this game right here, Marvel Crisis Protocol, is so good. And they're doing a big update to make it even better. And so far they've been leaking all the upcoming changes to all the characters, and you wouldn't believe how accurate they are when characters were just a little too weak because of one or two things that the community was complaining about. They are spot on making those changes. When characters are a little too strong, you can tell they're spot on. They're making these changes that are just beautiful. Now, full disclosure, I do not play this game in any competitive sense whatsoever and do not care about playing this game in competitive sense. But I do intend on probably playing it at LVO, maybe Adepticon, because it is a very fun game and it's fun to move around superheroes. It's fun to have Spider-Man punch Magneto in the head. Good times all around. But when you see a company like this, which Asmodee or Atomic Mass Games, I'm guessing, well, they have Star Wars Legion, they have this, I don't know what else they got, but I'm guessing it's substantially smaller than Games Workshop. And this game to be so fun, so fluid, there's no bloat of dice, there's no bloat of rules, everything's pretty simple. It's just a really well put together game. And it's so fun to play that it makes me have zero interest in playing 40K or Age of Sigmar right now. I just don't even want to bring my models because I could bring Marvel Crisis Protocol and play 3 or 4 games in a day, and my brain isn't melting out of my head at the end of the day because I wasn't rolling 80 dice per unit and re-rolling ones and then rolling 70 dice. I was also hitting on 2s and re-rolling 1, so it's almost pointless to roll because I'm hitting 79 times. And then I'm wounding on 3s and re-rolling 1s, and you're just picking up dice and moving 100 models in the game, and it takes you and your opponent each 45 minutes per turn because there's so many models and so many dice and so much re-rolling and spells and little rules interactions and stratagems and fight again and da-da-da-da-da. And it's just such a mess. I'm in a weird spot. Now, I might make a separate video on this, but there are a lot of people who are really talking about 9th edition being good or AOS 3 being good. And part of me wonders, and these people that I'm talking about directly have income tied to these games, right? They have podcasts about these games. They have entire businesses and Patreons about these games. Maybe I'm missing something here, but let me know below if these are good, because I'm really blown away at how bad they feel when I'm playing this because of how good this feels. Like, it just feels well put together, well thought out, well play tested. And the Games Workshop games feel like an absolute mess. Let me know what you think down below. These type of videos are always for conversations. I'm not making this to be, the judge and jury on the subject. It's more for us to talk about it as a community because I'm struggling to play, paint, or build Warhammer 40K or Age of Sigmar. And on top of that, there's a big preview coming up this weekend for all the new Games Workshop stuff, and I couldn't have less hype about it. I'm going to check it out. There'll probably be some cool models. They do make great models. But, I saw they were coming out with new Warcry models. They released a Barbarian. He looks fantastic. It's a great Barbarian. But Warcry is a pile of crap. Like the game should be so good. When we played it, we would play like 4-player games, house ruled a bunch of stuff. We had so much fun. But the game as is from their rules is terrible. There's no balance or playtesting between the Age of Sigmar factions and the original Chaos factions, the factions themselves, the points per model. Like one group will pay like the goblins will pay like 70 points for a goblin with a spear, but then this other group will pay like 45 points for an elf with a bow, and it blows your mind how bad the playtesting is on these models. But in a group game, and this is true with all games, it is of course fun to play with your friends. It's fun to play with people you know and like playing games with. So yeah, you could have fun playing AOS. You could have fun playing 40k. You could have a lot of fun playing Marvel. You could have fun playing Warcry. Definitely can have fun playing Blood Bowl. That one's still great. I assume Necromunda is good. I haven't played with all the new gang books, but I'm not talking about, you and your buddies having a great time because you're playing with your buddies. I'm talking about just, is the experience of the game worth it when there's other games or things you could do with your buddies that are also fun, that don't cost, $1,000 or whatever. I guess all the games cost $1,000 because we're all crackheads and we buy all the stuff, but you get my point. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe button. I haven't been making a ton of content lately, so subscribe because you won't be bombarded with 1,000 videos that you don't care about. You'll just get the good ones. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.